Well, hello there, and welcome to About the Albums. Um, this time talking about the album Power Rollin'. Originally came out in July of 2015, so that's, you know, kind of a jump from the last one, which was like December of the previous year. And I don't remember a whole much. I don't really remember a whole lot about this. I was going to say a whole lot and much. That's how I got that. About like what was like the what was surrounding the album. All I can really pull up from my brain is that I think I tried to use the effects pedal for this one for all the songs. And I feel like I may have recorded more songs around the same time and just only used these for Power Rollin' once I had enough to fit onto that. But I don't specifically remember that bit. So that's really all I have for prefacing on this. Except for also, I guess the general stuff of there's going to be links to the full songs in the description. There'll be timestamps to the information on each song. There'll also be a link to the entire album in the description. And any questions, that I don't answer, or any things you might be curious about that I don't really cover much in the About the Albums episode on this, you can just leave a comment. I'll respond to that. And, due to optimal recording times, right now I might just be recording at wee hours of the night or morning, so I won't be as yelly. So we'll see how that sounds. I may also sound more tired due to I haven't gone to sleep yet or I just got up. So I just wanted you to be aware of that for the next maybe few of these. I really want to get these recorded. And, the more time that passes, the less I'm going to remember. So hopefully it'll turn out okay. All right. Well, I think that's enough preface for this. Let's see what Power Rollin' is all about.
I'll drown you in poison. I'll kill you drown. I'll feed you my venom. Open your mouth.
Ha 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 ha. It's kind of goofy. Okay, it is the opening song. Basically just a very vicious song about probably about somebody you don't like, and just doing these very aggressive things towards them. And I'm thinking I put it at the beginning of the album because it is still kind of like a nice kind of like hoppy song with some energy to it. I've got the effect on my voice, and that helps mask how like kind of crappy my voice is or how much I don't like it. And also I used my voice in a very in a good way for me. Like the way I used it, I think made it sound more uniquely like me. And it, because it doesn't sound like really like a singing voice. It's me like, just making my voice sound kind of crazy, but trying to still kind of hit like those notes. And so I think it works really well for that. I don't know, I liked it. And like the bits in between where I'm just like making weird noises to go along with that. I don't know. I think the singing went well for the me style of doing things. And I kind of like that there's the effects on that, and the voice is like kind of, so crazy and powerful. And like the instruments sound kind of like, they're very neat, and they're like kind of like a lot smaller than like the rest of it. They don't have as much power as my voice does in it. So it's an interesting like way they kind of clash together. I like that. And because it's not like too long or anything, yeah, like, I just like that it's it's a good one to open the album with. So you look forward to, hopefully, if everything goes well and these songs are all good, me mastering myself. I shouldn't put it that way, but I did. So now we have to live with it. Calm Alone is kind of about like an existential, not existential, it's kind of about an antisocial, like kind of fear of people and just not wanting to really, not wanting to be around people to the point of like kind of being afraid of interactions with other people. It's kind of vaguely based in that. But the lyrics aren't too descriptive, so you could probably apply it to some other things too, I'm sure. Because I just liked the Come Alone, like, that just kind of came into my head when I was making it. I was also noticing that in general on the album, I'm thinking I may have actually, because both of the first two songs did this, I'm thinking I probably actually tried to use some similar tones here too. Using the same like guitar tone, like the guitar, the organ, the steel drum thing, and like I don't know if that's like a harmonica tone or like some other like there's like some kind of like weird like trumpet or saxophone tone in there. I think it is. Just like so, I'm guessing I probably picked a set of like a few tones and I tried to keep using those throughout it. Oh, and the guitar. So like yeah, like I'm thinking that's probably also the through line of the whole album is going to be trying to do lots of different things with those tones and also having an effect on either my voice or the music. And I don't think this is one where I think this is an effect that I think this happens a lot with that effects pedal and me singing through it, was that it was like I would think that sounded really cool. And then like when I was listening, but like then I listened to it back later, and it's like, oh, it doesn't sound as cool like it did in my head, like I thought it sounded when I was using that tone. But it's still something. I do think that like it does help my voice a lot to either have an effect on it or have another voice with it. I don't think my voice just flatly by itself on something is usually good enough to work. Sometimes maybe, but the music has to be pretty good to compensate. So that's part of that. And I also do kind of like the neat little the way this goes off like at the end. All I do is just like double time like the drums really, and everything else like he's playing basically like normal, while stuff like solos and whatever over it. That was kind of a neat little just shift to do that. And you can kind of tell that I have like, the tones. I'm like hitting like the drum parts together is kind of easier to do that because I'm playing them, like on the keys like this. So it's easier to just like hit keys at the same time with both hands for parts of it. I don't know. I thought that was like vaguely interesting the way you have to like hit, because then you can kind of like hit them at the same time versus like if it was actual drums. I feel like it would be harder for me because I've not actually played drums. They just look really fucking difficult in all the different places where you gotta aim to hit them. They hit them in the right amount of pressure and have the good timing on everything, and like I feel like it would take a level of accuracy and athleticism that I lack. I think I would be a really shitty drummer. But hitting them on the keys, not as hard. I mean, I still have small pudgy fingers, but it could be worse. It could require me to like be actually like physical, and like that's not good for anybody, especially me. Especially
roll the dice, 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 power roll the dice.
Power Rollin' is the title track, and it's about playing Monopoly. The idea that you have to roll high, you gotta get good rolls, you gotta roll like exact count sometimes, and you gotta make sure your rolls don't land you on those bad spaces. And it's kind of, I like how it's kind of vague in the beginning a bit, but it gets pretty obvious near the end part, where it's like talking about passing go and parking free. So I kind of like that. I don't know. For some reason I thought this is kind of a neat song idea. And I don't know. There's not a whole lot more to say, I guess, other than like I feel like my voice is maybe too loud in this in the mix. And that effect doesn't do much to hide that my voice isn't that good. I don't do a whole lot with it vocally in the song either. So I like a couple of the parts are just kind of funny the way I say them, I guess. But like, yeah, the chorus is almost it's kind of annoying because I don't know. I got made fun of for the way I say dice in it because I'm trying to do it kind of like in a singing way. So I'm like dice, and that's fine as long as I can make people laugh. That's like almost as good as being talented. It's not. It's not as good, but it's almost as good. It's an almost as good like because it's like being as good. You know, just spin your wheels at the end of the clip. Maybe if you spin your wheels long enough, you'll come up with something funnier to end on. But you don't, you won't, you piece of shit.
Burn alive, burn alive. Let your body burn until you're told to die.
Burned Alive, Cold Demise is basically about a crazy king, that you know, like a lot of the knights and the people and whatever, they want to be loyal to the king, because that was like a thing you'd want to be in those times. You want to be loyal and he's seen as like, you know, very noble knight and whatever. But then the king kind of goes crazy and essentially starts ordering his own people to be burned alive and cooked, and then so he can eat them. And kind of like the creepiness, like the line is thrown in there too about like how like that's going to like kill them because it's not healthy to do that. And just like it's like, can you like stay loyal to the king like when this is happening? It's and like it's burned alive. But it's a cold demise because it's like in cold blood, that kind of thing. So I liked that. And the singing was okay. I feel like I didn't hit the notes very well on like the slide down on the end of each line. But I tried. The effect helps. It certainly helps. I also like the way it kind of breaks down after like the singing parts, and it's like the drums like come out of it, and it's just like those kind of showcasing like the instruments playing stuff. I like that. Just kind of a creepy, interesting, different idea for a song, I guess. Where it's still within the realm of me doing kind of like a more sad, morbid song, but with a different storyline with it. It's not something so abstract. It's more like it's a little more specific about a made up thing, a made up event. So that's Burned Alive, Cold Demise.
Sing song, sing along song, sing the word song, sing along, sing song.
Sing along word song is pretty much me playing notes and stuff, and that's a weird sound. Playing notes and stuff, making like the main, like building on the main riffs and playing stuff over it. I do add in a weird chime sound that I don't know if I used in other ones. I do like it though, kind of the way it just kind of goes over this. Because the song just kind of like moves. It's not really about anything. It's just essentially trying to be a bunch of words that rhyme. And the idea that like, oh yeah, you can sing along once you know the words, because then you just sing those in there, and it's pretty easy to follow along with the way to say them. Again, using the strengths of my voice, making it weird. There's still an effect on it though, and I think that's interesting too, where it's like that effect on my voice is makes it kind of like the effect makes sure the notes, whatever goes through it, sound kind of wobbly too. So I kind of like that effect along with the echo. And in a couple parts where I do like a weird, like that, like quality to my voice, and I don't know. For some reason, it works with me. I'll take it. And yeah, there was a few references in the lyrics, I guess. Like I reference a Pet Detective, I say, which is referencing like Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. Prime Directive, which is referencing Star Trek. More specifically, it's used a lot in The Next Generation, so it's kind of a reference to that. Also, Zero Mission, I say that in there in reference to the game Metroid Zero Mission, the remake, of the original game Metroid from the NES. The remake is on the Game Boy Advance. More talking about video games agenda being snuck into everything. But the funny thing too is that when I did this, I think I maybe did another take. I wonder if I did or not actually, because I think I did that one really well. So I can't remember if there's another take that wasn't as good, or if I just didn't do it again, or if I didn't notice until I was done. And I was like, I'll leave it because it sounds good. But at the end of this, like the last line was supposed to be, because I was like, it's like sing the sing song, sing the word song, sing along song. The last line was supposed to be sing along word song, like the title is. But then I accidentally said sing along sing song. I just said sing song again. It naturally came out of me, and then I just left it. Cause like, it's fine. I think I maybe even noticed when I did it, but I also do kind of like the weirdest, like the like that, like the echoey thing at the end, along with like the sustain of like that weird like bell chime like noise. Electronic elevator bell. I don't know what it is. So that's sing along word song. It's a whole lot of nonsense going on, and you know what? I'm good at that. Also, I gotta stop. I'm noticing this right now. Sometimes I'm staring off this way because that's where the light is. The camera's here. I'm looking at this a lot because the light's like illuminating it, and I can sometimes see like the little details and like everything on the microphone. So I get distracted by that. And also I'm bad at eye contact because, despite this not actually being a pair of eyes, like social anxiety is weird, okay? Like I can't fucking, so don't you fucking, or else fucking. The magic is gone. What a miserable wizard. He can't use his wand. What a miserable wizard. Miserable Wizard is just about a wizard who basically has lost the ability to really do magic anymore. Just the idea of like they used to, be a wizard, be able to do magic and whatever, and now all of a sudden they can't do it now. Can't do it. Which can be applied to many things, I'm sure. But when I was doing it, I was mostly just talking about a wizard, although I couldn't resist making the line, without his crystal balls, instead of just saying ball singular, because why would he have multiple of them? I mean, you already kind of get the idea with wand, euphemism, but did I need to go that far? Probably not. This is actually a riff I think I've had for a while, for the main, like, underlying riff, and so I don't know if I did I can't even remember if I did. I may have done an instrumental with it. I can't remember for sure, though. So I wanted to do one where I could sing over that, and I did that. I think it worked well with, like, the other, like, the saxophone stuff over it actually sounded pretty good. I liked that. And I just thought it was also kind of funny, like, and, like, just, I also thought it was funny to be, like, because, like, if you do it to, like, like, his wiener doesn't work anymore, right? Equating it to that with wand and the crystal balls and whatever, then, like, it's also kind of funny to be, like, the magic is gone, like, it's like, oh, the relationship is having problems because can't use magic anymore. I don't know, I thought that was kind of funny. But I think my favorite line is, can't turn a pig into ham. I think it's super funny. And, like, I don't know why. Like, can't change jelly to jam is also kind of funny, but can't turn a pig into ham. I don't know why. That's really funny to me. And yeah, I do think it's maybe good that it has, like, because I sang it okay. I didn't have to go way out of my range for it, so it worked well because it was almost like just talking it. So it was kind of cool when it, like, the effects and stuff, like, on the actual music and the instruments, it gave that a lot more power and it made it sound pretty cool. And then the ending, I like how that kind of just goes off at the end of it too. So I don't know. Overall, that's a neat song. I mean, I guess it makes sense that a song would have power behind it on Power Rollin. But at the time I wrote this, I didn't have any problems with my wand. I may or may not have problems right now. I'll have to get back to you on that, and I probably shouldn't say that on the internet. But, I also shouldn't say I have a small penis on the internet. And I usually remember to edit that out, so I guess I'll be okay.
Tried to make some music, but I suck. Tried to write some lyrics, but I suck.
But I suck. It's just about me not liking myself, me just sucking at everything I do. And the interesting thing lyrically, I think, is that, it starts off just being like, oh, I'm trying to write a song, but I can't write songs because I suck at writing songs and making them and whatever, right? And you're like, okay, that's kind of like self-deprecating thing, but kind of could be taken as a funny thing, I guess. Then it's like, playing video games, something I do all the time, and I still suck at that too, okay. So that's like, that seems like a thing. It's like, that seems like it would almost mean less to most people, but it's something I feel like I should be good at, just because of the expectations of I spend so much fucking time doing it. Practice is supposed to make perfect, then I guess I'm just never gonna be perfect, ever. But then, like, it gets really gets dark, when it's like, because, like, some of the stuff of the last one is, like, the last verse, I try to make a sandwich, but I suck. That's kind of funny. It's just an inconsequential thing. Try to be human is a little serious. And, like, the final one of, like, tried to blow a bubble, but I suck, which is to be like, I tried to blow, but I suck. But the first one of that was, tried to keep my girlfriend, and it's like, holy shit, dude. Like, this was like, that's kind of a dark thing to, to throw out there when your girlfriend is dead. That's not really, you can't really put that on you. But holy shit, I think that was still somewhere in my head at that point. So that was really dark. That's the one line where it's like, like, if they don't know that tidbit about it, it's still kind of like, okay, like, he couldn't keep his girlfriend, but no, like, that's like weirdly dark considering the circumstances. I do think the music is really cool on this, though. Like, I like that I have, like, two of my voices on it, and that kind of helps keeps it interesting, because there's, like, a higher one and a lower one. I work well with me. My voice synergizes with itself. But then there's, there's, like, the echoes on the stuff, and, like, I like the way the drums kind of drop out in parts, and, like, the way the echoes work with the different tones, and how I'm sparingly using notes on different tones because there's all the echoes, so I don't need to constantly be holding stuff. And that guitar tone with, like, the way it kind of, like, like, the way, like, it kind of hits on stuff, and, like, the echoes with that. I really like the way that sounded. So the music in this one is actually really, really cool to me. But I Suck, a song that can be taken as lightly or as seriously as one desires.
Say what you are, for I am not. Say what you need, that I have got. Say what you think, because I know. Say what you bleed, I'll make it flow.
Say What You is vaguely about confrontation of, like, just tell me stuff, man. Just say it to my face. So it's kind of like confrontational. It's almost like aggressive in the way it's like, just tell me the shit, man. You gotta tell me. Which is kind of a funny thing to consider, since it's like I'm so non-confrontational. But, like, it's mostly just that. And, like, the music itself is neat. Like, the effects on it, the effect I have on the instruments make it kind of remind me of, like, something off of The Sound. Because I think I use kind of that sort of sound a lot on there. My singing wasn't great on it, partly because there was no effect on it. But also, you can tell, like, with the structure of the way I was singing the parts, was like, it would have made more sense to have two tracks and one, so they could kind of slightly overlap. So, like, the one says the first part, and then the second time they go through them, one is saying the first part, another voice is saying the second part, and they kind of like slightly overlap with each other. But I didn't do that. So it just sounds kind of like, I just hear in my head like it would have sounded better if I did that, and I wish I had done that. But yeah, the tones and stuff, they're all right. Again, like I use the same tones throughout pretty much all of this. The music itself is kind of cool, but it's not anything amazing or anything like that, and it kind of gets lost in the effects a bit, where everything sounds kind of samey. It's not bad. It's just, it's a song that could have been improved by probably a number of small tweaks to make it decent. And this one makes me feel like below average. And when I say below average, I mean below average for me, not like for most of my music for like actual music is below average. But production quality goes a long way, and I don't have any. So hopefully you'll settle for production quantity. Raw and Older is kind of about like this idea of like these people going into like the courtroom and like having so many things outside of the actual like truth and like justice of the situation decide what happens. It's kind of like the general like idea for the song. And that may be somewhat reflected in the title, Raw and Older. If you switch the letters, you can get Law and Order, because that's a thing I do. Kind of like the whole thing back from the other album with Poor Sahona. It's a thing. It's a thing. People do it, and people are me, and I do it. So it's kind of like playing off of that concept. The idea that some of that happens, or also the idea that like it's also kind of like it's somewhat that way, and also somewhat the other way of like everyone like thinks you're innocent, but like the evidence doesn't show that. Like guilty to everybody, but like still like innocent to the people who like believe you and like care about you, that kind of thing. So it's kind of like all over the place on that, but it's kind of, that was like the whole courtroom scene. That was sort of like the main thrust of what we're getting at here. And I don't know, I like it. I think it's neat. I also like that the song itself also, because it kind of just like the simple like thing kind of repeating for a while for like the main verses and stuff. That part kind of reminds me of Island of Domination by Judas Priest for some reason. It doesn't really sound that much like it. My singing isn't really anywhere near that either, but it kind of gave me those kind of vibes, I guess, just because like the music just kind of like jamming out in like the same kind of way. It's just like kind of jamming along, and just like, I'll have to sing over this in a way and try to make my singing sound interesting. But I do think I made my voice kind of interesting in those parts. And then for the chorus, I couldn't quite find out what I wanted to do with it, so it's a little like weird. Like you can tell I'm always trying to feel out where those notes are every time the chorus comes up. And I think it's also neat the way it's like this whole thing was done with like a wah effect, like the wah pedal kind of effect on the music. It was just on the keyboard itself, so all the stuff was going through that. So it started off with it all the way up, and then it would go to like the lower part of the wah and like the solo-y sections. It would sound kind of weird. It was kind of muddled, but like it's kind of an just interesting way it does that. And then I like that it kind of like it slowly like comes back out of that on parts. I slowly bring it back up to like the more open sounding of it, and like I don't know. So it's some kind of fun little interesting pieces in there going on to keep you invested, so you're not just like, this is the song, I get it. I heard like, I've heard 30 seconds, I get it. It's not quite that simple this time, but, you could extrapolate it and imagine, you listen like half of it and you're like, okay, I get it. That is Raw and Older. And I also think that was kind of funny how that worked out that way too, that would make two like existing words that sort of kind of make sense. That's like, because of like Law and Order, these things happening, it makes you raw and older. I don't know. I kind of like that. unintentional thing that came out of it when I thought of it. So sometimes switching two letters from different words with each other can actually be accidental genius. And is it still genius if it's an accident? I mean, I'll let you decide, but the answer is yes. Play Me Again is the last song on the album because it's doing kind of like the whole. Well, that's the thing. A lot of I think records would sometimes do this, turn me over, or just the idea the last song is like, hey, play me again, as in play the album again. Like it, but it's weird because it's a really this kind of slow, creepy song. So it's not a really good way to convince you to actually do it. But I do like the kind of it's really simple. I'm just repeating the same thing. The music itself is nice, I guess. It kind of just goes, and the tones, it works well with the tones that they picked for the album. So I think that's good. It kind of slowly goes along there, and I also like that it brings up the drums the last part of it, and the way everything kind of starts doing the same notes at the end of it. It's an interesting enough construction for a short song. And overall, the album, it's all right. It's not anything great. I don't have anything real the most interesting things about it are I wanted to use the effects pedal either on my voice or the instruments for the whole thing, and then I wanted to use roughly the same tones if I could, pretty much the same tones for all the songs, barring maybe a couple extra ones here and there and some different drum sets. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think? Leave that in the comments along with any other questions you might have. And the other, you know the drill on YouTube shit. Like, dislike, subscribe, unsubscribe, comment, delete your comment, hit the bell, repair the bell, whatever. Did people actually use that notification bell? Because I don't even know if it's still there, and I've never used it. I won't. Because I'm a firm believer in YouTube should just fix their fucking notifications so I get videos on my goddamn inbox. I want to do a secondary thing for being notified about shit. Okay? But to be fair, my inbox is pretty good. My sub feed, I don't really actually see. I don't feel like I miss any videos. I haven't gone to a channel and been I never saw this video because it never showed up there. Whenever I noticed them, it's been oh, I guess I didn't click on it. So maybe it has been fixed and I don't know about it. And the bell is just to get email notifications or something, because it's hard to keep up with all your subscriptions. Or maybe it's only if you have a shit ton of subscriptions. I don't know. But that's been about the albums. Hopefully it's cool, and there's links and stuff in the description, and timestamps and whatnot. And I don't know. I'm done. So I guess I'll just pose for the rest of this. So the artwork for Power Rollin here, the remastered one really isn't much different than the original artwork, because all I really did was, I think I may have read on the text because it was going to be too hard to trace over text. And I guess all the colors were slightly off because it way had been saved, or maybe it's because of just, I don't know. It was all slightly different than the colors that were in the standard colors that were in Paint now, which I don't think they should have been, but I think it's because of the processing that gets done to it. When it goes through being converted for YouTube and then being downloaded and whatever. Maybe the way I saved it originally, I don't know. So really all I did was I just went in and I colored over everything with the colors that were in Paint that were basically the same colors. And so I wanted it to pop a little bit more. And I kind of just redid the circles and lines and stuff that were on the dice. And it's just these dice to indicate power rolling, rolling the dice. But I guess it is a little deceptive because it doesn't look like standard dice you'd see. It doesn't have a Monopoly board background. It's a green, casino table kind of colors with the red dice you would see there that pop against that. But it's pretty much just that. It's nothing, and I don't remember. I'd have to look now. I don't remember if I actually this is the way dice are, or if I just wanted to have all the numbers showing up, the 1, 2, 3, and the 4, 5, and 6. I don't remember if I looked at an actual real die to make sure these were accurate when I was the way the positions are, but that's really all there is to say about that. It's nothing fantastic. It's just dice to indicate power rolling, and I guess I disconnected it from the song a bit. But it's not a concept album or anything, so I don't know. I think it's fine. It pops more than if I was trying to put a Monopoly board on there, right? We'll pretend that you also said, right.
I've got to go.